Hello, my name is Sister Patrice, and this is my resurrection journey.
Greetings and welcome to Resurrection Journeys. Join us as we talk with those who have been a part of this church family for many years. Welcome to this Resurrection Journey.
What brought you to Resurrection Life?
Well, actually, I was invited to Resurrection Life by Apostle and Pastor. I met them years ago, and I actually stayed with them for a little while. And when I first met them, that was when I was introduced to Resurrection Life Church.
How long have you been a member?
Well, I've been a member for about 25 years, consistent, I would say, because I remember that my daughter, she is over 30, but I had a picture of Apostle holding her, and she looked about 3 or 4. So I would say about 30 plus years I've been connected to Resurrection Life Church.
How did you know this was the church home for you? Was there a moment when you knew this is my church home?
Actually, yes. When I was first invited, when I got to the church, I immediately felt family. I felt the love. I felt connected. Being I'm originally from the Bahamas, and I basically left all my family in the Bahamas. And when I got here and meeting Apostle and Pastor, it felt like home. It felt like home, and they were so loving and patient and gentle and caring and giving, and I never missed home. And that was one of the things that really drew me to this ministry.
What was your first impression of the church?
Well, my first impression of the church was um, I felt love. I felt love. I wondered how was I gonna fit in a sense, as coming from a Church of God in the Bahamas, where you used to jump in and clap in, and it's different. And but when you get connected to a ministry, you take on the posture of the leader. It wasn't easy for me to get into, I mean, sorry, it was easy for me to get into the flow, because everything was, even back then, it was about excellence. Everything was, there was discipline, um, and there was always a sense of things had to be done in a certain way to kind of produce an atmosphere of excellence, and also to build. You don't find a lot of ministry where there's a building model, and there was automatically in place a building model. So that was my first impression.
Can you tell me about a time when Apostle and Pastor really showed up for you?
Yes. So when I originally lived in Miami, and I had some cousins that were staying here. I left Miami and I came down here, and I was in a unhealthy marriage at that time. I can say that. I can say that, right? Yeah, unhealthy marriage at that time, and I stayed with a cousin of mine, and some things transpired from there where I was not able to stay with them. So I remembered I had another cousin, and Apostle and Pastor stayed on 25th Street, in those apartments on 25th Street in Virginia. And I stayed there with my cousin. And I remember after, it came to a point where I had to leave. I remember going around. I had my three children with me at the time. Your mom and your two, your two uncles. They're your uncle, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, your uncle. Don't blooper me. And your two uncles up there. And I remember going around knocking on every door, and no one would open their door. And I came to apostle and pastor's door, and immediately when I knocked, pastor opened the door, and she said, "Hi, can I help you?" She was smiling. I was like, "Hi," and I was very, very shy back then. I said, "Hi, my name is Patrice, and I need to use your phone." And I said, "No one would let me in, and I just need to use your phone to call one of my cousins because I need a place to stay." So she said, "Okay, come in, come in, come in." She invited me in, and she directed me to where the phone was. I began dialing and trying to get through, and no one would answer. I couldn't get an answer. So she said, "Well, just wait a little bit, and you can try again after that." So I waited. She was cooking in the kitchen, and she came back and checked on me, and she said, "Did you try again?" And I dialed again. I couldn't get any answer, and it was coming close to about 5 o'clock, and she was done with dinner, and she said, "Well, my husband is going to be home soon." She said, you can stay for dinner if you want." And I said, it was kind of, I said, "Okay, sure, I will." But I was thinking about my three kids that was at my cousins, but I know they were fine. And I helped her set the dining room table, and we kind of talked a little bit. I told her what was going on, and she said, "You can stay with me. You can stay with us." And I kind of looked. I was like, "Oh, really?" I said it like that. And she said, "Well, I'm gonna wait till Apostle come home, and then I'm gonna talk to him." So we continued to set the table and chat. And I remember she cooked white rice and corn and chicken, fried chicken. It was good too. So we sat at the table. We were about to sit at the table, then I saw Apostle coming. Um, he was coming to the door, and he was tall, and he had a lot of black hair on his head back then. Yeah, he had hair. So very quiet, very very quiet. And he came in and he said, "Who is this?" And pastor said, "And well, this is Patrice, and she's here. She came to use the phone. She needs a place to stay, and I invited her to dinner." He was like, "Okay, okay, we, okay," just like that. And after, well, the table was set, and then we put our dinner plates. The food was ready to go. And she said, "Can you give me a few minutes?" So she took Apostle, in the room, and I know they were discussing what she had already told me I could move in. So I guess they were discussing the matter, and I thought for sure I would hear the hairbrush or something go, something, maybe the lamp. Or I was like, so. But he came out and he said, well, we sat to the table, and he said, "Can you tell me a little bit more about what's going on?" And I explained to him about the situation that I had to move. I had to move out. I said I have three children, and I was in an unhealthy, relationship, unhealthy marriage. And apostle and pastor invited me and my husband, then ex-husband, and my three children to come and stay with them in their home. No questions asked. And I wasn't working, and he at the time wasn't working. They took care of us for about 3 to 4 months, fed us. They had a clothing ministry back then, and they made sure we had clothes. We never want for anything. And then eventually they got us set up with our first apartment, and Sorry. Okay. And I have never ever met anyone like apostle and pastor who just really just I was a stranger, and having three kids and having a family and no place to go and just meeting me for the very first time. They opened their doors to me, they opened their arms to me, and they took care of us. And that's my story with them. But I remember Apostle, he was always so quiet, always quiet. You never even knew when he came home. He would just very, very quiet man, very humble. And that's my story. How they came through for me. Yeah.
How has the church grown and changed?
Well, back then when I started going to church with them, the church was on 25th Street. It was a very small building. They didn't have a praise team that I could remember. There was no band, but we raised songs. We sang, and compared to where we are now, it's like it's amazing. I've seen the growth. I've seen the word that has really come into fulfillment. I've seen Apostle grown a lot, and just a wealth of revelation. And he has never watered down his sermons. He always stick to God's program. He never shied away from any topic, and he always stood for what was right. And the spirit of truth definitely is very much alive in him. And growing from maybe 20 to now where we are now, it's amazing, And I've seen even he has grown in wealth, um, wisdom. He's grown also with making connections, so to speak. Also, he more connections overseas, like in Africa and those different places. I've seen men just humble themselves to him, and definitely he's a light. He's a beacon of light, not just in the city, but to the church. And yeah, his wisdom is amazing.
How has your life been changed since being a part of this ministry?
My life has changed tremendously. When I first met them, I had no direction. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't. I had no direction. I guess I can say I had no direction, and they pointed me. First of all, they opened their hearts, and they showed me love, and they showed me compassion, and they showed me how to treat other people, and um, they showed me the importance of having your life aligned properly, and the benefits that can happen from that. And spiritually, they showed me how to engage the spirit. They showed me the importance of prayer, the importance of praise. Even though I was from um, uh, Pentecostal, so to speak, background. I've never been so aware of the impact of the word. How when you really literally take the word and apply it to your life and believe, and really how to outwork that word, and how to make the word really work for you. My faith has increased a lot. Um, it's just I mean, I am deeply indebted to this ministry, and especially to Apostle and to Pastor. Um, my mom had passed away not too long, I'd say about 3 years ago, and I've always looked at Pastor Martha as my mom, because when I left home, I left my mom, I left my dad, I left all my family members behind, and it was very difficult for me. And going through a difficult time, and just having them to open their hearts and their homes and to take care of me and my family, and no question asked, asking nothing in return, that is what really, really, really caused me to grow in such a way that where I'm at now. So I'm deeply indebted to them.
What is your most memorable experience?
My most memorable experience is when we used to have the Avenue D um, street service. I was a part of that, and like I believe it was a Friday night. Don't quote me. I believe it was a Friday night, and we would pack up everything, and I mean, whatever mics we had, instruments, chairs, we would set up. And I just remember Apostles just being so passionate about reaching the lost, as he is now. Um, is reaching those that are, I would say, less fortunate, but those that may not have had fathers or parents to speak into their lives and to guide them and to, to lead them, to show them another way. And just how when even before we got there, sometimes there was just people waiting, souls waiting. They're waiting to hear him, and as soon as he opened his mouth, I mean, you can hear the wisdom, and I mean, when even now when Apostle preaches, he wants you to reach a certain depth. He wants you to connect. He wants you to know who you are. He wants you to know your identity and understand the importance of your identity and knowing who you are. Because even when we did the street ministry, there were so many um, people out there that they didn't really know who they are. They didn't have hope. But when he spoke, when he preached, and he would call them up for prayer and everything, you can tell he released hope. He released a dimension that many of them didn't have. And sometimes we would feed as well. It wasn't just the word. We would we'd feed them as well. So yeah, those were my memorable moments there with Apostle. And another memorable moment is my daughter. She, when we were at the 25th Street Church, she always used to wait till Apostle started preaching, and she would run underneath the chairs, and Apostle would look. Upon would always look, and I always thought he would throw that Bible at her, but he never did. And we would laugh, we would chuckle after that. But yeah, those were my memorable moments.
What keeps you excited to come to service?
What keeps me excited to come to service? Everything. From the praise team ministry, um, from the word, just being around the saints, the wisdom, the growth, the love, the family. This is family. This is family. This is home. And the same feeling that I have now, even back then when I first met them, and when I started going to the church on 25th Street, um, they never changed. They have such a love for the people, and they have love for the word, love for God, and always excellence. I mean, that's the main thing, excellence. And yeah, that's that's just it's being around the things and growing. It's you cannot be in this ministry and not grow. You cannot be in this ministry and not want more of God, and not want to pray more, not want to praise more, not want to just tell everybody about God. This is a ministry where if you put your heart and your mind and your soul, everything into it, you have no choice but to grow. And And abundance is also when you grow in the word, there's an abundance that comes. God gives you more. And Apostle has such a unique way of causing you to go from glory to glory in such a way, from strength to strength. He's a beacon of strength, and that's one of the things I love about this ministry is that no matter what you feel like when you come into the house, there's a strength. There's a wind, there's a power, there's a presence that always causes you to feel like this is home. Now I can go out. Yeah.
Thank you for joining Resurrection Journeys. If you want more information about our church, call 772-465-0036 or visit us online at reslifefl.com. Until next time, thank you for joining us on this Resurrection Journey.